It was during the autumn of my 26th year when the incident I'm about to narrate unfolded. Back then, I worked as a freelance photographer, often venturing into the heart of nature to capture its raw beauty. But what I encountered that October was far from beautiful. It was something that still haunts me. I had planned a solo trip to the old Greenwood forest, known for its dense trees and the legend of the Whispering Woods. The legend spoke of voices that were heard in the dead of night, voices that beckoned the curious and never let them leave. I was never one to believe in such tales. To me, they were nothing more than stories concocted to scare children. My journey began on a crisp Friday morning. The sun was a pale disk in the autumn sky, barely penetrating the thick canopy of the Greenwood. The forest was alive with the sounds of nature, a symphony that filled me with an exhilarating sense of freedom. I set up my tent by a clearing, near a babbling brook whose water sparkled under the rare streaks of sunlight. The first day went by in the blink of an eye, filled with photography and the exploration of the surrounding woods. As night descended, I lit a small fire, the flames casting dancing shadows on the trees. The crackling of the firewood and the hoots of a distant owl were my only companions. I must have dozed off because I was suddenly jolted awake by a sound that froze my blood. A whisper. A whisper in the dead of the night, so soft yet unmistakable. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained my ears, trying to convince myself that it was just the wind. But then I heard it again, a clear, distinct whisper, calling out a name.
Jacob! Jacob!
My name. The rational part of my brain urged me to stay put, to attribute the voice to the tricks of the wind or a wandering animal. Yet, the part of me driven by an inexplicable curiosity and fear had me reaching for my flashlight, unzipping the tent with shaky hands. The night outside was a blanket of darkness, the kind of darkness that feels almost suffocating. The beam of my flashlight cut through it like a knife, creating long, eerie shadows among the trees. I called out, my voice sounding unnaturally loud in the silence of the night. "Who's there?" But the only answer was the rustling of leaves. I stepped out, my boots crunching on the forest floor, my breath coming out in visible puffs in the cold air. As I moved away from my tent, the whispers seemed to grow louder, more insistent. They were calling me deeper into the woods. Every rational thought screamed at me to turn back. But the whispers, they were mesmerizing, pulling me in like a siren song. I wandered, lost in a trance, the flashlight's beam my only guide. The forest around me felt alive, watching, whispering. Then, suddenly, the ground beneath me gave way and I found myself falling. I hit the ground hard. The breath knocked out of me. When I finally managed to sit up, I realized I had fallen into some sort of pit. My flashlight flickered, casting ominous shadows on the walls of the pit, which were covered in what looked like ancient carvings. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and something else, something foul. I heard a scuffling noise above me and shone the light upwards. To my horror, there were faces peering down at me, their features twisted in malevolent grins. The whispers were louder now, a cacophony of hisses and moans that seemed to come from the very walls of the pit. Panic set in as I frantically searched for a way out. The walls were too steep, the earth loose and crumbling under my grasp. I was trapped with those faces watching me, those whispers enveloping me. Hours seemed to pass, each minute stretching into an eternity of fear. The faces disappeared with the coming of dawn, leaving me alone in the pit. By some miracle, I managed to climb out, using the roots of a tree that had grown into the side of the pit. I stumbled back to my campsite, my body trembling, my mind reeling from the night's terror. The forest was silent now, the whispers gone as if they had never been. I packed up my gear with trembling hands and left the Greenwood without looking back. To this day, I don't know if what I experienced was real or the product of a tired mind. But sometimes when the night is still and the world is quiet, I hear it. A whisper calling my name, beckoning me back to the whispering woods.